Grand Rising. Hope everybody slept well last night. Hope everybody woke up in a good, positive vibe. Hope you got them third eyes open this morning, man. We'll drop something on you. And today we're going to be reading from the Quran. We're going to be reading from this book called The Golden Stool. I repeat, we're going to be reading from the Quran. And we're going to be reading from this book called The Golden Stool. Only reading 2 pages from The Golden Stool, but we're going to read a lot of pages out of the Quran today. And before we get started, man, I just want to say, I put a sign here. I want you to see something. This sign is a message for you today. I hope you can see it. It says, manifest the life you want. You see that? Manifest the life that you want. And I'm a living example, man, a real truth, an open book. Man, I manifested the life that I want. A lot of people who know me, they can tell you, man, from my past and all the things that I've been through, how I overcame them, and just the things that I was able to do with my life, and how far I came and where I came from. They would look and say, man, damn, we would never ever thought that he could do all the things that he's doing. And it's all because I manifested the life that I wanted. I seen it here first. I seen it in my mind first. My mind's eye. I seen it there first. And somehow it began to come out into my doing. Because I could see myself. I manifested it. And it happened in real time, man, in real life. Almost like an overnight process. You ask anybody who knows. But with that being said, we're reading from the Quran because our subject today is pretty much about Islam. I study the 120s, which is the 5%, 5%ers teachings. The gods of the earth, their teachings. I study the 120s. They call them the 120s. I also study the Honorable Noble Drew Ali's the Holy Quran Circle 7. I read on it, study on it, and I try to practice it. And that's with everything. The 5%ers, Clarence 13X. To me, he was a man to be admired. Same with the Honorable Noble Drew Ali. He was a man to be admired. So I had admiration for these guys. You could say my forefathers. And I began to look into what they were teaching and what they was practicing, and I began to learn it myself and practice it myself too. Now, as you see behind me on my wall, like I said, these are the gods. And I want to stop one minute and say, yeah, I did a teaching. I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been the troglodyte niggas, that teaching. Well, I called out all the gods on the wall, and I didn't call out Dr. Khalid Muhammad. How can you ever not call out the great Dr. Khalid Muhammad? Huh? So I want to correct myself and give honor to my forefather, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. With that being said, if you look on my walls, like I said, I got the gods on the walls. And before I heard about the nation of Islam, the NOI, before I heard about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, before I heard about Farrakhan, before I heard about Dr. Khalid Muhammad, before I heard of any of them, or read Message to the Black Man, Malcolm X, El Hajj Malik Shabazz, he was a man to be admired. So that made me look into the nation of Islam and certain things he was teaching. But all of these religions that I just called out, I have to say it like that so you can understand me. I called out the 5%ers. I called out the Moore Science Temple, and what Malcolm and them was following, the NOI. All of them are branches of a tree called Islam. And once you begin to read the Quran and study yourself, you find out even then it had another break off. Because you got the Sunni and you got the Shia. And I'm trying to That's the reason for this reading today. To see, can we get some understanding or can we get some clarity for as black people in Islam? And that's what we're reading here. But today, it's all about learning. That's all my channel is about, man. My channel is here to make you laugh. My channel is here to uplift you. My channel here is to provoke thought, to make you think, to make you go and search, to make you to better yourself. It's for the betterment of our people, the uplifting of our people. And let me say something. I don't have all the answers, and nobody in the world does. But what we're here to do is to try to find the answer, is to try to learn, is to try to better ourselves. You got it? Because a lot of these people is only up here for entertainment, man. That's all they is. They here to make a buck. Well, and I'm no different. I'm here to make a buck too, but guess what? I want to uplift my people while I make it. I don't want to do anything crazy to try to make a buck. I could have did that without having to even be on this screen, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I got my hands in some of everything. But here we go. The Golden Stool. And you can download this PDF. You can download this PDF. You can get 354 pages for free. The Golden Stool. And we're going to start reading on page 227. And the title is Islam in Africa. Page 227 of the Golden Stool is Islam in Africa. Listen what it says. And when the Muslim declares that his sacred book, the Quran, contains the actual words of God and is an infallible revelation of God's will, then again he is impressed and attracted. That the Quran is written in a language he cannot understand adds to its mystery and power over his untutored mind. Open up your third eyes, listen. Moreover, Islam is propagated in Africa, not by strange white men who practice alien social customs, but by men of the Africans' own color, or nearly so. And listen how I said, or nearly so. If they were of the African colors, listen, if they were of the African same color, they would be talking about the Moors, because they was really, 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 really black or dark. You got it? And then it says, or nearly their color. When it says, or nearly their color, they're talking about the Arabs. Just putting it in plain terms for you. But by men of Africans' own color, or nearly so. And if of manifestly higher grade of civilization, not removed to an impossible distance as the European is, there is not a gap between the Muslim missionary, be he trader or preacher, because the Arabs came through there to trade a lot. And you can look at that twofold, because they betrayed them too. Or preacher, let's talk about the Muslim missionary. Hold on. And the African, such as yawns between the Christian missionary and the African. Listen, the ordinary Muslim has the same implicit belief in magic as the African. Listen now, let me stop right there. I got to hold it right there 1 minute. Let's keep in mind, the person that wrote this book is always Caucasians. So you got to learn to see past the hatred in their pen for us. Because once, like I said, once they came to Africa and seen that was the holy land, and seen that these people was thriving in their own civilization, and recognized that these people were black, something deep inside their inner man would not let them accept that these people was the creators of civilization itself, but they were black. So they can't speak nice even when they try. It's a forked tongue, man. Serpent. Open your third eyes. Let's go. Here we go. The ordinary Muslim has the same implicit belief in magic as the African pagan. His jinns, his jinns, Jinns, which means like demons, like a demon. His jinns are not strange creatures. The African knows plenty of the same species. The rhythmic dancing and barbaric music. So yeah, we rhythmic when it comes to dancing, they know that. But our music is barbaric. Yeah, we got some, they got some hip hop that's kind of barbaric. I don't listen to that bullshit either. You know what I'm talking about. And this ain't here to put nobody down. Certain music I listen to and certain music I don't. All right? Listen, talking about the African. It says the rhythmic dancing, and it's comparing the Muslim or the Arab and the African almost alike because they got rhythmic dancing, and it says their music is barbaric. Here we go. That tongue I'm telling y'all about. Dancing and barbaric music of the Koribantic dervishes who have done so much to spread Islam in Africa. And that's another thing we're going to get into. How did they really spread Islam in Africa? Oh, we're going to get into it. Much to spread Islam in Africa are on the same plane as the Africans' own practices. It is no new thing to him. It is no new thing to him that divine truth, messages from the unseen, are conveyed through trance. Listen, on the social side, Islam appeals to the African through its offer of brotherhood. So you mean to tell me Africans didn't have brotherhood until Islam came? Open up your third eye. Listen. On the social side, Islam appeals to the African through its offer of brotherhood, which again, the African understands readily. Mr. E.D. Morel says that Islam takes the Negro by the hand, listen to this, and gives him equality with all men. And we know that right there ain't even true. But let's keep reading. He said, Islam takes the Negro by the hand and gives him equality with all men. From the day the pagan adopts Islam. If you don't adopt Islam, you're a pagan, is what they said. Ain't this some bullshit? Listen to this. No Semite Muslim can claim racial superiority over him. Listen, no Semite Muslim can claim racial superiority over him. We're going to find out, do they actually practice that though? Here's the second page. This is 228 of the Golden Stool. And the title of this is called Islam in Africa. This is page 228 of the Golden Stool. And you can download this book for free PDF. How many pages? You get 354 pages. Download it before they remove it. That's how it goes. Anytime we are interested in something and we start learning about it, they get rid of it or they erase it or they jack the prices up and make you have to buy it for crazy numbers. All right, page 228. It says, Islam to the Negro is the stepping stone to a higher conception of existence. We're trying to understand how is that even possible when the highest step of existence was in ancient Kemet. Listen how these people write. Islam to the Negro is the stepping stone to a higher conception of existence, inspiring in its breast confidence in his own destiny, imbuing the spirit with a robust faith in himself and in his race. You mean I gotta stop for a minute. You mean to tell me we didn't have no faith in ourselves or our race when our forefathers was building big monolithic structures of themselves? Huh? Wow. Here we go. Imbuing his spirit with a robust faith in himself and in his race. Listen, Muhammad Ali claims that Islam abolishes all invidious class distinctions. And we know that not to be true either. Listen, he said it got rid of the separation between races and who's high and who's low, and there's equality. And we know that not to be true. We're uncovering and exposing and getting to the truth today. That's all we're doing. All right? Third eye open. Muhammad Ali claims that Islam abolishes all invidious class distinctions. It lays down the basis of a vast brotherhood in which all men and women, to whatever tribe or nation or caste they may belong, and whatever be their profession or rank in society, the wealthy and the poor have equal rights, and in which no one can trample upon the right of his brother. Pause. I worked for Arabs before, was in close connections with them before. Matter of fact, I almost took one life. I can say that. This is before I came to knowledge of the truth, knowledge of self, knowledge of me being God in the flesh. Before I came to be the man that I am today, I worked closely with Arabs. And it came to a point where I pulled a blade on one, was getting ready to put him down. That's a true story. So I do know there is a distinction between how they look at us, period. And what do you mean? And this isn't talking bad. This is only truth and this is only facts. Open your third eye. Every corner store you go to, an Arab running. In every neighborhood you go to, an Arab running. Why our folks don't run it? Because there's a distinction. They haven't abolished anything. All nations work together against the black man. And that's a fact. Open your third eyes. Here we go, man. I'm almost finished with this so we can get into the Quran. It lays down the basis of vast brotherhood. I already read that. I'm sorry. Page 228. That's where we at. It lays down the basis of a vast brotherhood in which all men and women, to whatever tribe or nation or caste they may belong, and whatever be their profession or rank in society, the wealthy and the poor have equal rights, in which no one can trample upon the right of his brother. He quotes the saying of the prophet, which they're talking about they're talking about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, right? Listen, he quotes the saying of the prophet, which lays down the strict rule of brotherhood. No one of you is a believer in God unless he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. Listen, no doubt, certain reservations have to be made within the fold. Brotherliness may reign, but all without are kafirs, Kafirs. And I'll put the definition for kafirs out there for you so you can read the understanding of that. It says, the Muslims legitimate pray. Love of the brotherhood accompanies and fosters hatred for others and spiritual pride. Listen to this one more time. Within the folds of brotherliness may reign, but all without, everybody that's not down with Islam, but all without are kafirs. The definition should be on the screen right now so you can read and understand. The Muslims legitimate pray. Love of the brotherhood accompanies and fosters hatred. Listen, accompanies and fosters hatred for others and spiritual pride. As Sir Frederick Lugard says, Islam as a militant creed which teaches contempt for those who are not its votaries, panders to the weakness of the African character, self-conceit, and vanity. See how when it comes to African, we weak. Listen, so they say. Let the weak say I am strong. Here we go. As Sir Frederick Lugard says, Islam as a militant creed which teaches contempt for those who are not its votaries, panders to the weakness of the African character, self-conceit, and vanity. The fact that Muhammad, talking about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the fact that Muhammad allowed slavery and that Muslims have always practiced slave raiding and slave trading demonstrates the limitation in the Islamic conception of brotherhood. What? Let's read that one more time. The fact that Muhammad, talking about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the fact that Muhammad allowed slavery and the Muslims have always practiced slave raiding and slave trading demonstrates the limitation in the Islamic conception of brotherhood.
The time of the slave routes. And when you look at that map, where do most of the slaves seem to come from and where do they seem to be going, and according to that map?
They're coming, of course, from Africa.
West Africa.
That's right. And you see them go into North America, South America.
Yeah, Brazil, the Caribbean, Jamaica, and of course to the North America as well. So the southern parts of North America, the eastern coast. And that's what we have been taught. That's the kind of map you get in every school. You will see a few lines over there on the east, but notice where they're showing that those slaves go to.
Yes, the green lines, of course, yes, is coming down around South Africa.
But even in the Western narrative of slavery, they still think that the East Coast African slaves all came around the southern Cape of Africa, which is one of the most dangerous places for boats to go. Look at these numbers. This is the totals that John Zuma came up with. These are but these are first put together by Austin and Lovejoy. These are probably the ones that probably have had the best, have done the most work on it. Slaves who are leaving Africa, take a look at where the Islamic slave trade that went, the trans-Saharan slave trade. This is the trans-Saharan slave trade. How many million do you see there? I've just circled it.
17.
17 million. How many went across the Atlantic slave? I've just circled that.
11.
11 million went to the European slave trade went from West Africa over to the Americas. 17. John Zuma puts it up towards 19 to 21 million if you conclude all the East Coast slavery. So you're talking about anywhere from 11, let's just say 17 for now though, so we'll go with Lovejoy's and Austin's numbers. Why haven't we heard about that 17 million? Why have we only heard about the 11 million?
Well, because there is an agenda, as we...
Huge agenda. And what's more, what's fascinating to me is when you look at those numbers, the 11 million, that happened in a period of 1400 AD to 1800 AD.
Now I want you to look at this picture, man. Look at these pictures. These are pictures of that they drew of the Arab slave trade. But I want you to notice how the man is looking in the woman's mouth. Most of the slaves they took alive was women, so they could sleep with them, make babies with them, breed with them. Look how he looking in her mouth. What do you think he looking in her mouth for?
These differences between, this is what John Zuma found, between Islamic slave raids and transatlantic slave raids. When he looked at the historical record, just looking at the raids, these are how they got him, he noticed that the Islamic raids, 2 out of 3 of the slaves were women. In the European transatlantic slave, 2 out of 3 slaves were men. Why were the men going to across over to Caribbean and America and also to South America, and women going up to the Islamic world? Any idea?
Well, of course, I want to just use the fact that they take him as a like as a possession, basically, like what your right hand possessed, for instance, according to the Quran, to have children from them and to use them for sex and other things.
Absolutely. There were no plantations in the Middle East. They didn't have plantations. They didn't need men. So 2 to 3 of all the slaves, of the 17 million, 2 to 3 of them were women. What did they do with the men?
They probably killed the men.
They killed them. They had no news for them. Transatlantic purpose was agriculture, whereas in the case, and you mentioned it for the Islamic trade, the purpose was mainly for sexual exploitation. Now, here we get probably to the most devastating part, and this is the next category. When you look at the Atlantic slave trade, we can pretty well know where their descendants are today. We know that most of their descendants survived, didn't they?
Yes.
You look all over places like Haiti and Dominican Republic, the east coast of Brazil, especially northeastern Brazil, full of their descendants, hundreds of millions of them. 30 million of them are in the United States alone. This is the elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about. So when you can see the enormous inequality and what was the degradation and the eradication and the destruction of the African family, isn't that interesting? Arabs were never enslaved.
That's right.
Because of those references we have to read. Now let's go to Muhammad himself, and let's look and see what the traditions say about this man, Muhammad. And so let's go back on the screen again, and let's look at his appearance. And when you look at his appearance, you will see, first of all, in Al-Bukhari, that he had white leg shank. That's interesting. So he had white legs. Secondly, that he had white forearm in Ibn Dawud 3206. We notice that he also had white armpits in Al-Bukhari 8, volume 8, volume 76, sorry, number 8, what do you say, volume 8, and then
volume
also
book 78,
78, and then
number
hadith number
631.
631. And then also when you get to Bukhari 4, 56, 76 to 7, he had a white abdomen or white belly. When we get down to Al-Adab Mufra, in 790, he had white skin. And then finally, with Sahih Muslim, he had a handsome white face. So when we look at the traditions as the description of Muhammad, in every case, he is white. White forearm, white armpits, white leg, white abdomen, white skin, and also white face. Al-Bukhari 1363 even calls him a white man. What is particularly troubling is when you continue on with that, take a look and see what Ibn Musa al-Yasunbi says. Anyone who says that the Prophet was black should be killed. Boom. So this to me is absolutely troubling. And what I'd like to say is when we look at this and we go through this, we can see that there's a real problem here because it's obvious that there is a disposition against anything that's black. We've seen this now in the traditions. We've seen this now in Muhammad's own references there. And now we get into early Muslim literature. He said, now this is an African himself. Look and see what he says.
If my color were pink, woman would love me, but the Lord has marred me with blackness. Though I am a slave, my soul is nobly free. Though I am black of color, my character is white. I am covered with a black garment, but under it there is a lustrous garment with white skirts.
I mean, you just almost have to cry when you read that.
That's
you can
right.
see how he's agonizing of his blackness. He just feels like he just feels dirty. He just feels wrong. Here's another example, and this is the black poet Abu Dalama. And look and see what he is saying from Algiers.
We're alike in color. Our faces are black and ugly. Our names are shameful.
Now, he's probably the best known of the early black poets writing in Arabic. He was a slave who became a court jester of the first Abbasid caliphs. And so you can see, long before the slave trade in the Atlantic slave trade, you have this kind of attitude by black people, African slaves, but by black people themselves. And let's look at this one here. This is by Jahiz of Basra, 776 to 869. So he's saying the 8th to 9th century. One of the greatest prose writers in classical Arabic literature, and maybe partly of African descent. In his special essay, The Boast of the Blacks Against the Whites. Look and see what he says.
It's part of your ignorance that in a time of heathendom, meaning like the
Jahiliyyah
Jahiliyyah, you regarded us blacks as good enough to marry your woman. Yet when the justice of Islam came, you considered this wrong.
And just go ahead and read what Bernard Lewis says.
He's saying black in Islam is somehow connected with sin, evil, deviltry, and damnation, while white has the opposite associations.
Let's continue on to the Quran itself. In the Quran, Surah 3, Ayah 106 says this.
On a day, meaning the day of resurrection, when some faces will become white and some faces will become black. As for those whose faces will become black, to them will be said, did you reject faith after accepting it? Then taste the torment in hell for rejecting faith.
Let's continue to another reference. Here is Surah 39, Ayah 60.
And on the day of resurrection, you will see those who lied about Allah with their faces blackened. Is there not in hell a residence for the arrogant?
Tabirdi, let's see what he says, narrating from Ibn Abbas.
Yeah, Jami' al-Tirmidhi, volume 2 says, Ibn Abbas narrated that the Messenger of Allah said, the black stone descended from the paradise and it was more white than milk. Then it was blackened by the sins of the children of Adam.
So this narrative about evilness of blackness, that it changes and creates evilness, or is created by evilness, continues in the Hadith. It's not just in the Quran. Bukhari, look and see what he says.
Narrated Anas ibn Malik, Allah's Messenger said, "You should listen to and obey your ruler, even if he was an Ethiopian black slave whose head looks like a raisin." Jabir said, a slave came and pledged to the Prophet to immigrate, and the Prophet didn't realize that he was a slave. Then his master came looking for him. The Prophet said, "Sell him to me." And he bought him for 2 black slaves. Then he did not accept the pledge from anyone until he asked, "Is he a slave?"
So you can see Muhammad was caught into the same trap. Later, this is now introduced in Christianity, but it was first begun in the Muslim world, in the Near East.
Now, let's think about it. How was Islam spread? Did people just take it willingly? Did they just want to come into Islam willingly? There was no African religions? Nah, it wasn't that they came into Islam willingly. Muhammad and them, peace be upon him, they came with the sword. And anybody who wants to dispute or debate that, then you don't know the Arabic history. You don't know the Arabs partaking in the slave trade. Oh, they did a lot. They did a lot. But when it came to the religion, either you accepted it or it was off with your head. That's a fact. They lived by the sword. They spread Islam by the sword. And there's a distinction between how the Arabs treat other Arabs and how they treat black people. Oh, you don't believe it? Well, when you get into the story of Bilal, the one who came up with the call to prayer, right? Bilal was black, a man of color, okay? Why is it that when you get to the Bible and you look up the name Bilal, it's a worthless man or a man connected to the devil? Black, worthless, no good. Because that's what they think about blacks for real in the Arab brotherhood. But they try to keep that secret. And that's in Islam. You don't got to believe me. Look it up. It's always a distinction when it comes to black. That's why I tell you, baby, black is beautiful. Every time we in here, we gonna push that black power to the people. Y'all talking about power to all people. Hell no. Power to my people. Black power. And it gets no more power than that. Huh? Yeah. Third eye open here. Now, they always had a problem with blacks. You always had to be beneath them. And when it comes to any other nationality, in any other religion, all around the world, they all want to give you religion and give you truth as long as you as the black person or the black man or the black woman or the black child or the black family is beneath them. And that's the truth. And you can study all religions. Guess what, baby? I put a challenge out there to you. For those that say you shouldn't be studying all that. No, study all of it so you can see that they treat blacks the same in all religions. You at the bottom, nigga. Better break loose from that bullshit and come back to your people, because your people was the gods. Your people is the truth. The rest of these people are liars. I'm sorry. It's just my passion. Like Farrakhan said when he was on what was it? 2020, 20 minutes. I can't remember the show. But Farrakhan told him, he said, shoot, I'll talk. Oh, forgive me. It's just my passion. Okay? But man, I'm inspired. I admire all my brothers, whether they be 5% or whether they be more Science Temple, whether they be Hebrews, whatever they preaching or whatever they teaching, all I see is great men trying to lead our folks back to the top, trying to bring our people into the light. And that's what I admire about them, regardless of whatever they teach. So I'm never here to tear down my brothers, only here to build up my brothers. All right? And that's the problem. They always taught us to tear each other down, not to stick together, not to build each other up. Yeah, we ain't gonna agree. You can go and check history, baby. We never agreed on a lot of things. And that was our downfall. Because if we agreed that when this caveman walked up on our land, if we all would agree to kill his ass, then we wouldn't have these fucking problems today. See, that's true for your ass, and you don't want to hear that. I'm getting in my Sarah Susan Seti mode right now. Let me calm down, man. But yo, listen, man. I just want you to see the difference. You know, I want you to see these things that they try to keep hidden from us. You know? And like I said, third eye is open. All right? I pray that I said something that opened your third eye. I pray that I said something that sparked the flame inside of you to make you want to go and search and find out the truth about what I'm saying. You understand? And that's the whole point. Hope it make you open your Quran. Hope it make you go study the 120s more. Hope it make you go look at the Holy Circle Quran 7. Dig deeper in your Bible. Read these books that they wrote. Come on, man. Knowledge is power. Get that power. You understand? Then get knowledge yourself. Pray the Most High open your third eye so you can see things for what it really is. All right, man. I gotta go. With that being said, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And I'll catch you next time.